Welcome to this video series of the top 5 mistakes that users make when they're using Photoshop. So in this first episode, we're just going to be talking briefly about understanding the intent for your Photoshop document. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they're working in Photoshop is they don't consider the intent of the document that they're about to work on, and they just jump straight into Photoshop when in actual fact it might be better to use another program to do what they need to do. So what is a typical Photoshop document, or what typical things should we be using Photoshop for? Probably the first thing that Photoshop is most often used for is photo manipulation work. So it might be that you want to go into Photoshop to change an image in some way. Maybe you want to retouch the image. Maybe you need to clean up the image a little bit and use some cloning tools. Maybe you want to run some filters on it to enhance the color. Maybe you want to do some color correction work, or maybe you want to go in and retouch skin, that sort of thing. Or it could be that you want to deep etch. You want to cut around an object to change its background. So that's the photo manipulation work that Photoshop's often used for. Another area that Photoshop may be used for, especially for those in marketing, is to create digital assets that might be used in a marketing campaign. So typically we see a lot of work done for social media in Photoshop. If you want to create maybe a post for Instagram or Facebook, then you may go into Photoshop and create those tiles by adding some text. And it can be a really great way to enhance those images and create eye-catching and interesting advertising for both social media and for campaigns like Google AdWords and websites as well, affiliate programs, that kind of thing. So what Photoshop shouldn't be used for is when we come into the area of layout and actually working with dynamic and quite, complex layout. So things like brochures, flyers, any kind of multi-page work. If you're working in that kind of area, it's best to stay out of Photoshop for doing that kind of layout. Programs that are designed for that sort of work are InDesign and Publisher, those sort of things. They are much better at handling multiple pages and much better also at handling formatting of text. Photoshop's text formatting capabilities are relatively limited. They can work fine if you're just doing a headline or a subhead, that kind of thing, but as soon as you start getting into paragraph text, you're best to take it out of Photoshop and take it into a program like InDesign. So when you are working in Photoshop, just think, what is the intent of this document? Is it going to be just for photo manipulation? Am I going to create some kind of web banner or digital asset? Or am I going to create something that requires more of a layout program? There's going to be multiple text frames, there might be multiple pages. If that is the case, then you're probably better off taking it into a program like InDesign. So the key takeaway that I would love you to take from this video is to consider the intent of your Photoshop documents before you just launch into Photoshop. Are you going to be using multiple text frames or multiple pages? If that's the case, you might be best jumping into InDesign. But maybe you're just going in to create some photo manipulation work or create a digital asset to be used on social media or on a website. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 2 of the top 5 mistakes that people make when they're working in Photoshop.